Attorney General Leticia James is preparing to seize Donald Trump's real estate assets. Many people are starting to call this a modern day version of eminent domain. Do you guys believe this? I mean, this is just unreal. But Leticia James, she's not the only one that's stealing Americans' properties. Shocking moment. TikTok tells followers to invade Americans' homes and invoke squatters' rights as provocative video is viewed almost 4 million times. I cannot make this stuff up, guys. So the really scary part here is that they're listening and that we have illegals surging through our southern borders right now, guys. And this is going on through Florida. It's going in through Texas, southern parts of California, Arizona, New Mexico. And guess what? President Joe Biden is letting this happen. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is letting this happen. I mean, too many American citizens are letting this happen. And he's keeping our borders wide open and basically inviting, in fact, incentivizing illegal migration into the United States. I mean, it's blatantly obvious what he's trying to do. President Joe Biden desperately needs more voters, and this is the easiest way for him to get them. Just leave the borders wide open. Donald Trump says that he's the only man that can stop this from happening. What do you guys think? Is Donald Trump the man for this? What do we need to do right now as American citizens to take our country back? Now, before I get to the really concerning part, all I ask is that you guys take 1 second, drop a quick like for the video. And basically this just kind of lets YouTube know that, this video needs to get out there. And if you really want to help support the channel, feel free to share this video on Facebook and Twitter. I see a lot of you guys already jumping into the live. Katalia says, yes, I saw this guy talking about squatters who can claim your homes. I mean, this is scary, guys. You have illegal migrants entering the country at an alarming pace, and now they're stealing Americans' homes. Just yesterday, Florida Governor Ron Desantis, he announced that he was sending additional personnel, including more than 130 soldiers, to the Florida Keys. This is along with more than a dozen aircraft and boats to stop what his office is calling the possibility of invasion by Haitian migrants. Haiti's got a lot of struggle going on in that particular country right now. And there's a big concern about a possible invasion by Haitian migrants into the United States, among others into the United States as well. In fact, the deployment includes officers from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission officers, and of course, members of the Florida National Guard and Florida State Guard. So the U.S. Coast Guard, they said on Tuesday that it had sent back 65 migrants back to Haiti after they were picked up on a boat near the Bahamas. And since October 1st, the Coast Guard said that it had basically sent 131 migrants back to Haiti. Now, Governor Ron DeSantis, he says that he may send Haitian migrants that are landing in Florida over to Massachusetts. Can you believe this? So we're actually making the problem even worse. We're bringing illegal people further into the United States. And this is exactly what we saw Governor Greg Abbott do. He's like, hey, I'm not going to just have this problem linger here in Texas. You guys, you sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, you want to say it's okay to have all these migrants be here? Okay, you have them. Send them up to Washington, D.C. Send them up to New York City and many other different Chicago. How could I forget Chicago, right? So anyway, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he says that he may send more migrants to Massachusetts. And in a recent interview, Ron DeSantis, he said that Haitian migrants arriving in the state could be headed to Martha's Vineyard. He went on to say that we do have our transport program. And essentially, he went on to say that, if Haitian migrants land in the Florida Keys, well, their very next stop may very well be Martha's Vineyard. And that's not all. In fact, illegal immigrants stormed the U.S. border in El Paso, Texas, just yesterday, actually. I mean, it's 2:31 a.m. now. So They knocked over the guards among, the guards that were standing at the Texas border earlier today, or earlier technically yesterday now. Illegal immigrants ultimately just kind of just stormed past the U.S. border in El Paso, Texas, and they essentially knocked over all the guards, or several guards, after this standoff over the Texas law. Guards were bum rushed, and just as the state's anti-illegal immigration law is being held up in the courts, dozens upon dozens of military-aged males, adult males, were ripping away razor wire that was set up by the state and just charging past the Texas National Guardsmen. They ultimately ran toward like a section of the border wall where they were kind of blocked off from getting any further in. But a Texas law enforcement source had indicated that the group consisted of over 300 illegal immigrants and about 100 adult males, military aged, and they rushed at the soldiers. And one has been arrested so far for assaulting a soldier, but they're not worried about being arrested. They're not worried about any type of punishment here. They know that the United States doesn't punish migrants, especially, illegal migrants. That's not what the United States is about. Joe Biden has essentially rebranded America and is advertising America as the illegal immigrant destination capital of the world. If you want $10,000 from Joe Biden, if you want free room and board, if you want 4-star hotels for free, come on into the United States. We got you. Because Joe Biden needs the votes. And they're clearly not doing anything to stop this. This is a very intentional plan, a very coordinated plot that is being executed right now in front of us. And unfortunately, we as American citizens are going to be the victims. We are the victims of this. And did you guys see that the Supreme Court actually held up the Second Amendment for non, was it I forget how they phrase it, for non let's see, the judge rules illegal immigrants actually have gun rights protected by the Second Amendment. Can you believe this, guys? So a federal judge in Illinois actually found that the Constitution protects the gun rights of non-citizens who enter the United States illegally. So basically, what this is saying is that the Supreme Court has approved, and I'm not a lawyer, so don't quote me, but I mean, this is a valid source here from Fox News. Basically, they're saying that illegal immigrants can carry guns. And this is just unbelievable. The Constitution protects the gun rights of non-citizens who enter the United States illegally. That sounds like an illegal immigrant. I mean, how I don't know how else you can spell it out here. So it says here, U.S. District Judge Shannon Johnson Coleman on Friday ruled that a federal prohibition on illegal immigrants owning firearms is unconstitutional as applied to defendant, I can't pronounce his last name. Anyway, so the court found that while the federal ban is facially constitutional, there's no historical tradition of firearm regulation that permits the government to deprive a non-citizen who has never been convicted of a violent crime from exercising his Second Amendment rights. Unbelievable. So if you're experiencing any of this ammo shortage that's going on across the nation right now, or actually, certain states are experiencing certain types of ammunition, there's a shortage of ammunition. This could be part of the reason why a lot of Americans are looking to protect themselves and exercise their own Second Amendment rights. And who knows who's coming into the country, taking full advantage of this ability to exercise their rights as illegal immigrants and purchase guns and ammo. But what's even more concerning is how this video that's gone viral on TikTok, where this TikToker is basically telling his followers to invade American homes and invoke squatters' rights. I mean, this is just Why would you do this? Like, this is just horrible. I mean, this is literally taking a law that really should just be completely deleted from every state and city. This squatters right crap needs to go. Um, so a TikTok influencer is advising his followers on how to invade American homes and invoke squatters' rights, making it difficult for them to even be removed from the properties. So basically, this guy, I'm not even going to put his name out here. I'm not going to give him any more pleasure in terms of notoriety. But basically, he appears to be a Venezuelan migrant who told his followers that under the U.S. law, if a house is not inhabited, we can seize it. Now, if this doesn't scream national security problem, uh, this is I don't know what does. So he's referring to squatters' rights or adverse possession laws, which is a common law principle that allows an illegal inhabitant. It's amazing how many laws that they have in place to do that protect illegal people doing illegal things. It's just unbelievable. I can't make this stuff up, right? So a common law principle that allows an illegal inhabitant to acquire ownership of a property based on continuous occupation without the legal owner's consent. So basically, if the legal owner doesn't know the squatter's there and they spent enough time there, now the legal owner can't kick them out, even though they didn't get permission and they likely broke into the house, because who leaves homes unlocked, right? Um, this is if you're not concerned about this, then I don't know what planet you live on, because this is a massive problem. And I mean, we can thank people like Governor Gavin Newsom, we can thank AOC, we can thank Joe Biden, the big man. We can thank all of these folks who have helped to make life more pleasant for people who want to do and commit crimes illegally in the United States. Moreno alleging that he and his friends have already taken about 7 homes, argued the only way for migrants to not live in the streets or be a public burden is to seize and invade abandoned properties. So basically, they're trying to justify this activity, which is theft. It is theft. I mean, you want to talk about, man. So here you have Donald Trump getting his properties essentially stolen through the legal system being used against him. The legal system is supposed to protect American citizens. It's not supposed to penalize us. But this is exactly what's happening. Like, we're seeing it across the nation. And if you're not concerned about the direction of America, then maybe you have a plan B, because America's changing, you guys, and it's not going in a good direction. It's not looking good here. Like I said, Donald Trump, as of Monday, so what, less than 3-4 days from now, unless something miraculous happens, Leticia James, she's already gearing up to start seizing properties. In fact, I actually saw an article earlier today. Let me know if you guys saw it. Looks like Leticia James has already submitted paperwork filings to the courts for one of Donald Trump's New York properties. Is actually not one of his buildings in New York City. It's not like 40 Wall Street or something like that. It wasn't Trump Towers, which is actually good, because there's so many people who actually work in those buildings that Donald Trump has in New York City, that, if Leticia James were to start off trying to seize those properties, it could be very likely that a lot of those people would be out of work, and that would further negatively impact New Yorkers, because the people of New York are not the problem. It's the legal system in New York. It's the governors. It's the mayors. It's the lawmakers of New York City who have made New York City the flyover city that it is now. The loser state that New York City has become, according to Kevin O'Leary. I mean, I don't understand. New York has some cool things about it, but the way they run it is just awful. I was just up in New York City like 3, 4 months ago, and there's a lot to like about it, but there's also a lot not to like about it, and it just really sucks. It really does. And these lawmakers, they are destroying New York City. I mean, after COVID, or during COVID, there was this mass exodus of people leaving New York City and migrating to states like Florida, for example, states like Texas. People were migrating out of California. Look at the states where people were migrating out of, right? And there's a reason for this. Super high freaking taxes in New York and in California. You have these, you have mayors and governors in New York and California that are literally running their states into the ground. They're bleeding the taxpayers, homeowners, real estate owners, real estate investors dry. Taxes are just unbelievable. And we were in New York City, and there's usually some street vendors and whatnot. There's always street vendors in New York City, right? But what we observed was a ridiculous amount of street vendors that literally just had, like, just blankets all on the ground. And they had blankets on the ground, and they were literally just selling all sorts of stuff. And I saw this interview recently, and they were asking business owners who, and I was wondering this myself when I was there. They were asking business owners, because they were basically kind of like walking through the streets, interviewing people, and they were asking the business owners, "Hey, have these people," and a lot of them were migrants who were basically setting up shop, rolling out a blanket, putting product on the ground and selling it. They were asking the business owners, "Have your businesses taken a hit? Has there been any kind of impact to your business since these people have been essentially just setting up shop on your sidewalk?" And they said, yeah. They said customers are afraid to come in. They said that a lot of the products that they have for sale are either stolen, or they're taken from home donation bins, and they're selling these products. And the other thing is to Catalia's point, you have to have a permit to do this in New York City. You got to have a permit to do it wherever, in whatever city you happen to be in. I'm not aware of a city where you can just set up shop and not have a permit. If you have a physical store location, you got to have a permit. Anyway, so they're doing this all over New York City, and we've seen a mass spike in retail theft over the last many months. And so, what are they selling? Probably stuff that has been stolen, probably stuff that has come out of donation bins. And then, how do businesses compete with these street vendors that are unlicensed? They're not permitted, and they're not paying taxes. I'm pretty sure they're not paying taxes. Someone who steals goods and then sells them is not going to report taxes. I guarantee they're not doing that, right? So, how do you compete with a street vendor as a legitimate business who has no overhead? I'm sure the blanket that the products are laying on was stolen too. So, so this is a big problem. Also, look, there were street vendors actually selling alcohol too. I'm pretty sure they didn't get a license to sell alcohol, but the liquor store that they're selling in front of probably does have a license. Would cost them a pretty penny, and likely a very pretty penny to retain that license. So it's destroying New York. The country is literally going down the tubes, and it's only getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump continues to have his assets effectively stolen from him through modern day eminent domain, all thanks to Leticia James, Judge Engeron, with his $454 million judgment that's been placed against him. Again, as I called out before, and I don't know why I'm not hearing this talked about by Donald Trump's attorneys and his legal team, but this is a very clear, and maybe they've said it because, I mean, there's so much testimony there. It's hard to keep up with everything, but I'm not hearing it. This is a clear violation of the Eighth Amendment, guys. This is a violation of the Eighth Amendment, which basically says you can't punish someone in a cruel and unusual manner. The fine that he was charged is cruel and it's unusual. The proof is in the pudding. There has never been a case like this ever. Okay, number one. Uh, Number two, there has never been an amount demanded of this magnitude to an individual ever. And we have proof. Ask any surety bond company. I mean, Donald Trump's legal team has literally reached out to 30 of the largest bond companies that issue millions of dollars in bonds, and none of them were even capable of issuing a bond greater than $100 million. So it's like, the court in New York City has demanded the impossible. And how is this not a violation of the Eighth Amendment? And then, Leticia James went on to say, this is going to the victims, this is going to the people of New York. Where are the victims? Who in New York is getting this money? I would love to know, because no one has come forward yet. So anyway, I want to jump in the comments. I want to see what you guys are saying. What's going on YouTube? All right, let's see what you guys are saying. Where y'all watching from? Is this news to you guys? Let me know what's going on. All right, so Discus Macabre says James should be held personally responsible and liable for the damage that she's inflicting. Oh, you better believe Donald Trump is likely already planning on gearing up for some civil suits. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be going after people that have done him wrong pretty soon. I think right now he's kind of in defense mode, but I wouldn't put it past him going to the offense sooner than later and getting some of that money back. I mean, you already saw the lawsuit that Trump initiated, or at least his legal team has initiated, against ABC News and George Stephanopoulos. Every time I say George Stephanopoulos' name, I always think of Sesame Street, like Mr. Snuffleupagus. I don't know, the names remind me of each other. Anyway, Pastor Annie Mant says, disbar them both and then prison. Unbelievable. I mean, these people in these positions, it's just a blatant, clear abuse of power, and it's getting old real fast. We can't let this keep happening. I mean, this is an attack on American business. This is an attack on entrepreneurs and investors, real estate developers. I mean, New York City must not understand how economies work. Businesses are started because there are people who have money to, do business with them. When businesses exist and they're successful, they are able to afford to hire people, to pay taxes, to do all of these different things within an ecosystem. Well, when you piss off or bankrupt all of the business owners and entrepreneurs and scare off all the investors, well, what do you think is going to happen to all the businesses? New York City, Eric Adams, Kathy Hochul, AOC, what do you guys think is going to happen? And then, of course, you're going to complain that, oh, well, our tax revenue's down. We can't pay for all these migrants who don't pay tax, all these illegal migrants who don't pay taxes. How are we going to keep them fed and housed? You know what I'm saying? And then they'll have employment problems. I mean, truckers already, before this boycott warning, we're already boycotting New York City because it's so expensive to drive through there. They need special permits just to get their 18-wheeler semi-trucks through New York City. The traffic is ridiculous. You got cops camping out left and right, waiting for a trucker to violate some obscure law so that they can get fined and end up wasting their whole day and have an unprofitable visit. It's like New Yorkers making it so that they're decapitating themselves. I mean, this is just awful. It's a really bad situation here. But let me see what you guys are saying here in the comments. John Bozeman said, um, I lived in California up to December. The feces water was the oh hell no moment. Was the oh hell no moment. My bad. Oh my God. Feces water. I didn't know anything. Oh, that's right. I did know about that. That's right. Craziness. Craziness. Debbie St. Louis says, send them on over to Big Papa Joe at the White House. Unbelievable, guys. By the way, if you haven't already, I don't know how many people we got in the live. Definitely drop a like for the video. Totally appreciate the support, you guys. And if you really want to support the channel, definitely share the video on Facebook and Twitter. We gotta get the word out. We have how many more months? November's coming right around the corner. So 11, got April, and it'll be April in like what, 11 days? So no, like 9 days. It'll be April. So 4, 11, so like 7 months and change until the November 2024 election. And they say this every 4 years, that this is the most important election ever. And I think that they're right every year, because up to that point, it is the most important election. And 4 years from now, it'll be the most important election at that point. And but we also can't ignore the local level elections, like, because the president is nothing if he can't get Congress to pass things. The president, with the exception of the executive orders and executive actions that he can pass, which really they're limited in terms of what he can do on his own. The president really isn't squat without a House and a Senate that supports what he's trying to do. So we really can't ignore, these other political positions that do require our votes as well. So I hope you guys are paying attention. I will never, ever tell you who to vote for. I'm an independent, so I don't lean toward any particular party, but I do lean toward America. So whoever's going to make America great, that's who's going to get my vote. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys appreciate today's update. If you haven't already, drop a like for the video. Consider subscribing to the channel if you like the content, if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all be safe.